Hey good people, how you doing? Welcome to episode 55 of 254 Rugby, the first episode of 2026. Manze, we've been trying to find our mojo. We've just been trying to jump into the mood for 2026. I know it's February 2026, Kenya Cup and all that stuff has been going on, but hey, we needed to find a moment when we could pick up, and what made us wake up was the HSBC Sevens 2 competition held in Nairobi this past weekend, the 14th and 15th of February at the Nyayo National Stadium. I must tell you, HSBC Sevens 2 was dramatic, it was revealing and at times brutal. That was the opening round of HSBC Sevens 2. And it took place at the iconic Nyayo National Stadium, a stadium that is 43 years old. I mean, it was built in 1983 and has gone through several upgrades, but those are sideshows. Now, it wasn't just another Sevens weekend. It was the start of a 3-leg race where every try, where every conversion, every losing bonus point matters. And by the time the dust settled, two teams walked away with 20 points and early control of the promotion race. That was Argentina in the women's competition and Germany in the men's competition. Let's start with Las Jugaretes. That is the Spanish referral to the Argentinian women's team. And let me tell you, these ladies were built. They were not born. They came into Nairobi as the promoted Sevens 3 champions, and from the first whistle, they didn't look like newcomers. They were ready. They started the tournament with a win over China. And in this particular match, Mariana Escalante scored the first try of Sevens 2 in Nairobi, and history was made early. Talia Rodic added firepower. Spain were edged in a tight one. Brazil were handled with authority by Argentina. And by day 2, Argentina were in control of their own destiny. Even when they lost to South Africa in that dramatic golden point thriller, they collected the losing point that ultimately secured the tournament title. If you ask me, that is maturity, that is tournament awareness. Sofia Gonzalez, the Argentinian player named player of the tournament in the women's competition, summed it up perfectly. She said, "It wasn't accidental. It was the result of intentional rebuilding over years." And what happened for Argentina? They leave Nairobi top of the table. Now, still talking about the women's competition, and let's talk about South Africa, because South Africa, well, they were the only team that managed to beat Argentina all weekend. They started with a 33-5 statement win over China, which was ruthless. Ayanda Malinga's 90-meter solo effort, that was it was pure class. And the golden point win over Argentina, that was physical, it was patient, but most importantly, it was clinical. For South Africa, they sit just 2 points behind Argentina heading into South America. There'll be 2 legs in Montevideo and Sao Paulo in the last 2 weekends of March 2026. For Spain, well, they did quietly what Spain does. They stayed competitive, they collected bonus points, and they secured 3rd place. China and Brazil, they showed flashes, but consistency separated the top 4 from the rest. Now, let's talk about the Kenya Lionesses. They were the hosts and the most dominant team on the Challenger Series in 2025. Remember, Sevens 2 is basically the new upgraded, what can I say? It's an upgrade from the Challenger Series. which pretty much is the same competition that the Lionesses were playing in 2025 when they were the dominant team. And let's start with the opening game. Yes, the Lionesses gave the crowd in Nairobi moments to roar about. They came from 12-0 down to defeat Brazil 15-12. But you know what? That was that. In that game, Janet Okello, Stella Wafula, and Naomi Amguni stepped up. And then after that, they didn't win again. They lost 5-0 to Argentina. They lost against China and South Africa. Yes, they picked up losing bonuses. But for the Lionesses, here's the reality. In a short format league, first of all, yes, it's good that bonus points can keep you alive. But wins take you forward. The Lionesses finished 5th. They have a lot of work to do heading into Montevideo and Sao Paulo. Were they competitive? Comme si, comme ça. Were they close? Again, comme si, comme ça. Were they clinical enough? No, they were not. Because just based on my uncertain answers to the previous two questions, they should have, pounced on the errors and the opportunities that came their way in their matches against their opponents. Now, let's go to the men's competition, and Germany, they provided the biggest surprise of the weekend. They did not just win in Nairobi, they dismantled expectations. They stunned the USA 28-7, 4 unanswered tries. 4 tries, the USA answered with 1, but they were dominant defensively and territorially. And then they edged Belgium in a gritty, pressure-soaked contest. And when Kenya and the USA slipped, Germany were ready. They leave Nairobi with 20 points in the league phase, and early control of the table. If you ask me about Germany, they were not chaotic. They were structured, they were disciplined, and they were tactical in their approach to the sevens competition in Nairobi. Let's talk about Shujaa. Shujaa finished day 1 unbeaten. That meant they got into day 2, with a 100% record. They beat Uruguay. The crowd was rising. The momentum was building. George Japolo Oro was electric all weekend and was eventually and rightfully named player of the tournament in the men's competition. But now, Shujaa's undoing came in their final match against the USA. The USA were tactically sharp, they were patient, they were controlled. They froze Kenya out for long stretches, and just like that, the title slipped away, but even second place slipped away. And again, that's the cruelty of this format of sevens. At this level, one match can define your weekend, and Shujaa now chase from behind heading into Montevideo and eventually Sao Paulo. So what's going on for Shujaa? Or what's going on just generally, looking at the bigger picture? Argentina and Germany lead the race in the men's and women's competitions with 20 points. Spain, South Africa, and China in the women's competition are within striking distance. While in the men's competition, USA, Kenya, and Uruguay are still in the hunt. 3 tournaments, the top 4 in each category advances to the World Championship Series, which determines who's going to play in the top tier HSBC Sevens in 2027. And the question is there any margin for error? No, there isn't. Is there any momentum? And what is the significance of momentum? Well, momentum is everything heading into the final 2 competitions in South America, in Montevideo, Uruguay, and Sao Paulo, Brazil. So we are coming to the close of this update, podcast, whatever you may call it. Nairobi, well, it did not just launch Sevens 2 in 2026. I think very early on it has revealed who is ready for promotion and who still has layers to build. Montevideo is next, and then Sao Paulo after that. And the pressure is building. It shifts to South America. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 55 of 254 Rugby. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, give us your feedback. But hey, we'll catch you again. But tell you what, thank you for following us, and we will be consistent going forward. We still have matters to talk about in the Kenya Cup and so on and so forth, but I don't want to bore you with all the long outros. Catch you again next time. Peace.